So what's up, guys? In the works. Yeah, just another Battlefield 3 video. Nothing special. Just a regular old Battlefield 3 video. No, I'm just kidding. I know you guys would get upset if I didn't acknowledge that I did hit 50,000 subscribers last night. And, a lot of you guys have already tweeted at me, left me messages on Facebook, messages on my last video saying congratulations. And I do appreciate the support, guys. I read each and every message, and wherever I got it, be it Facebook or Twitter. Although it is pretty hard to read my Facebook messages because I do get so many of them, and it gets bogged down and moves really slow. But yeah, when I was at the gym last night, I actually saw that I hit 50,000 subscribers. I was on the bike, and I was like, oh, whoa, just hit 50,000, because I saw a bunch of tweets, and I was like, what is everybody tweeting me about? But yeah, it's been a long climb to where I'm at. I mean, I've posted a lot of different games. Granted, a lot of you guys watch me for my Battlefield 3 stuff, which is fine, but I started off posting NHL 11, Medal of Honor 2010, not Warfighter, the original Medal of Honor 2010, the reboot one that, not a lot of people liked, but, not a lot of people liked Warfighter either. But anyways, that's off the topic. Yeah, I started posting a random amount of games, posted World at War. That was actually the first game I ever posted, was World at War. And a lot of you guys hate Call of Duty, but I played World at War a lot. That was a really fun game. It was, it was an interesting setting. So I played a lot of that, and it's been a long climb to the top, and especially with Battlefield 3 kind of dying back. Like the rate my channel was growing was really kind of slowing down here in the last couple of weeks, just because Battlefield 3 is getting old. There's not a lot of room to grow. A lot of the ideas that I've had in the past have already been done, and it's just you run out of ideas at some point. And you may notice that I've kind of cut back on some of my videos. I mean, I've just been trying to put out better videos versus a lot of videos. I think this is a better way to take it, especially when I've gotten to this point. I would hate to just make a video, just for the sake of making the videos. And I do appreciate it when you guys watch my videos. I know that, the Black Ops 2 videos are very oddly received. I feel like people don't, the people that watch them really enjoy them, but then you've got the Battlefield community, which just feels the need to go over there and like dislike it and make it seem like I've made a bad video. And a lot of people ask me about that. They're like, Jake, why do you get so many dislikes on it? And I'm like, look, guys, I mean, that's just how people are. For some reason, the Battlefield community is so polarized. It's like, more so than the COD community, I've noticed that the Battlefield community does not like other games. It's Battlefield or nothing. And that's where those dislikes come from. And it doesn't really discourage me too much. I mean, honestly, like if I didn't put out a Black Ops 2 video yesterday, I wouldn't have put out a video at all, because that was the video I had an idea for. Felt like talking about it, and the rest is history. But it's been an interesting climb. Like I said, it's been dying down a little bit. The rate of the subscribers aren't as high as they used to be, but I've got a pretty good following, and I enjoy where my channel is at. It's nice to be able to make good videos and share them with you guys. And any video I make is just because I feel like making. I don't actually have any sort of like goal or motive when I make a video. I just, I think of something I feel like talking about, and I talk about it for, 8 minutes or however long the video is. And that tends to be the case with all those weapon videos. A lot of people think I just make weapon videos for the sake of weapon videos, but no. I mean, mostly it's just stimulating myself, That sounds kind of naughty. It's stimulating my brain. How about that? I like talking about weapons. I like discussing it. I like seeing what other people think, because the Battlefield community is very interesting. They're much more engaged on weapons and much more engaged on the way the game plays, and it's fun to me to make those type of videos. So one of the questions, though, I do get asked quite often is, do I do YouTube full time? And the answer to that is no. This is definitely not my full-time job. I have another job that I do, and then I actually have another side job. So I have a lot of different things going on in my life. YouTube does give me portions of income, but I don't really rely on it. And that's why, like I said, if I don't have a video idea, I just don't do a video. I don't make videos for the sake of making videos, just to spam you with some crappy 15 and 15 gameplay on Battlefield 3. Now, I try to have some sort of useful video every day. I try to avoid those quote filler videos. And this gameplay you're watching, it's an example of my quality control, because I did a live series, a solo live series, because a lot of you guys have been wanting that. And I went back and listened to it, and I was like, man, I just don't think this is up to par. I just don't think that this is something that I want to put on my channel. So, I deleted the live com, and I kept the gameplay, because this was actually a pretty good Scavenger gameplay. But you know, the commentary just wasn't there, and sometimes that kind of stuff happens, and I see so many YouTubers that don't have any sort of quality control, don't have any sort of like filter on that kind of stuff, and I'm like, man, you know, my subs would kill me if I posted a video with some sort of like huge audio mistake. They would roast me alive. I don't know if that's because I'm, you know, such a small channel, or if it's just, you know, my standards are higher. I don't know, but I see a lot of guys get away with just posting some really just blatant editing errors, and I'm like, man, that would drive me nuts. But you know, anyways, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about that kind of stuff, but you know, it's been a fun climb. You know, I appreciate every subscriber I've got. You know, of course, with every subscriber comes some haters, but I would say for the majority of my videos, we're pretty free of that kind of negativity, and that's what I like about my videos, and that's why I try to make videos that stimulate conversation versus stimulate, you know, some sort of polarized opinion, like, you know, AK-74M is the best assault rifle in the game. Then the next thing you know, you got 15 guys who are M16 fans hating on you because you think this weapon's better than them. You know, it's a tough road to take YouTube, and I never really expected when I started this, like, oh, okay, let's go get 50,000 subs. And really, if you think about it, and you kind of compare me to some of the other big channels, I mean, I know Level just hit like what 150,000, so I've got a long way to go if I ever want to get in his boots. But you know, he's a really good channel, and those are the type of channels that grow really well. But if you look at, you know, 50,000 and you compare it to, you know, where some of these guys are, it's like, man, I got a long way to really climb to get up there to the top. But like I said, I'm happy with where I'm at. I don't really have, you know, set goals in YouTube. I just like, you know, the average views I get now, perfectly fine with me. You know, I could continue doing this for a couple years with those kind of views and not really worry. Is it nice to grow? Absolutely. It's awesome to grow. It makes you feel good when you get a lot of new subscribers, when you get a lot of new people watching your videos and stuff like that. But you know, you've got to know where your limits are. And since I don't do this quote full time, I can't invest as much time as some people can into it. And you know, I hope that doesn't affect the quality of the videos. I mean, I know that, like I said, I try to put out awesome quality videos, and I think that's why I tend to skip a lot of days as of late. Just because, you know, Battlefield 3, there's a lot that's already been done. There's a lot that's already been touched on. So I want to make sure when a video goes out, it is a awesome video. It is a top-notch video. But before I ramble too much more, I'm gonna get to a few things just to answer you guys, to kind of appease you, because a lot of you guys ask me these questions and I never touch on them just because I'm like, those would be good Q&A questions. And technically this isn't a Q&A, but since I'm on the topic, I'm going to answer a few questions. I already told you guys I do not do YouTube full time. That's probably one of the most frequent questions I get. Now, the next question, everybody always asks me this: am I married? Do I have a kid? I am not married. I do not have a kid. I do have a girlfriend, but I am not married. I see a lot of people say, you know, Jake's married. He's like 30 with a kid. I'm not 30, guys. I am not that old. I promise you. I am only 26. I just turned 26, so I am not an old man. I do not have a kid. There's nothing wrong with old men. Don't make it sound like I'm insulting someone that's old with a kid. I'm just not at that point in my life. So hopefully that clears that up. I see that pop up all the time, and I'm like, I just cringe when I see it. I'm like, guys, I'm not that old, guys. Come on. But yeah. And next question is a lot of people ask me, you know, what did I do in college? I was a poli-sci major. I actually did like statistics, stuff like that. I'm really good with math. I've always have been. So you think poli-sci, you think social science, which it definitely is a social science, but a lot of my stuff that I did was math-based, statistics, you know, campaign stats, stuff like that. A lot of boring stuff. So that's what I majored in. How did I get into YouTube from that? I'll never know, but, you know, hey, you know, I'm the #1 U of I graduate on YouTube now. Now that iFlyAllionI has successfully left YouTube, I am the official #1 U of I commentator. I always thought that was kind of funny, because if you didn't know who iFlyAllionI is, he was the guy who was caught up in that masturbation scandal, which if you don't know about it, it's probably for the best, because it's really not that interesting. But he was a U of I graduate, so I guess that's kind of like, oh man, you know, what does that say for U of I? But hopefully those two questions, you know, they come up a lot, and I just wanted to answer them at the end of this video. And I want to thank you guys. Let's use the last couple minutes of this gameplay to thank you guys for 50,000 subscribers. It's been a really long climb, and I want to do something special. A lot of you guys wanted me to do a setup video. I am not ready for a setup video. I am actually in transition, moving a lot of stuff around. I'm building a second computer. I've actually been working on that forever, so I need to get that out of the way. I need to get my desk situated so it doesn't look horrible, and I also need to get another monitor, because if you didn't see the Facebook picture, my third monitor broke. It was my second monitor that broke in like 3 weeks, so I am down to one main monitor and like a little side HD TV that I use for like my second monitor. So I'm kind of in transition right now, but I promise you guys sometime soon we will try to get a setup video once I have like my second computer all fixed up. I will have my setup video, and I actually might give away some of the components that I didn't use, because I actually have a Radeon 6870 sitting around somewhere that might be useful. I think that might be fun. But for the 50,000 thingamajigger, how would you guys feel about like a question and answer stream? Would that be something you guys would be interested in as a kind of an alternative to maybe a setup video? Because I know a lot of you guys want the setup video, but like I said, that's gonna have to be put on hold. But how would you guys feel about a question and answer stream? Maybe we can do some open lobby stuff. My Xbox Live's expired, so it definitely would be on PC, but it'd be mostly just about talking to me in the chat and stuff like that. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you did enjoy the Scavenger gameplay. It was actually pretty good gameplay. I think I went 34 and like 11 or something. But once again, guys, thanks for 50,000 subscribers. Hopefully here's to 50,000 more. 100,000's always kind of been my goal. I think that would be a really cool number. But if you missed my other videos, here's a couple that you might have missed in the past couple days, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.